The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Willett at the Intertribal Council of Michigan's National Native Network. Welcome to the NNN webinar series on cancer risk reduction in Indian Country. This webinar is titled Reach Obesity Strategies. This technical assistance webinar is being hosted by the National Native Network with the Indian Health Service Health Promotion and Disease Prevention, which offers technical assistance and resources for commercial tobacco prevention and control throughout Indian Country, and the Indian Health Service Clinical Support Center. Your presenters today are Noel Pingator, Department Manager in the Health Education and Chronic Disease Department at the Intertribal Council of Michigan. In 2006, she graduated from University of Iowa School of Public Health, and in 1990 from Lake Superior State University in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Also, we have Emily VanderKlok, Community Health Outreach Manager from the Nottawasepi Huron Band of the Potawatomi Health Department. In 2019, she graduated from Western Michigan University, and in 2005, acquired her bachelor's degree from Syracuse University. And Angie Johnston, Reach Grant Manager at the Bay Mills Health Center. In 2019, she will be graduating with her bachelor's from Central Michigan University. We are pleased to offer continuing education credits for participants in this webinar. No commercial interest support was used to fund this activity. This activity is designated one contact hour for nurses and physicians. And to obtain a certificate of continuing education, you must be registered for the course, participate in the webinar in its entirety, and submit a completed post-webinar survey. Tomorrow, we will be sending out an automated email from the GoToWebinar platform that will contain a link to SurveyMonkey, which will have the evaluation in it. So if you'd like a continuing education unit, please fill out the survey, include your contact information, and we will have that out within the month. By the end of this webinar, participants will be able to examine the Reach Journey to Wellness model for obesity prevention in multiple tribes, identify the impact of promoting participant-driven healthy lifestyle adaptions versus weight reduction programs to address obesity, and implement effective physical activity and nutrition strategies to address overweight and obesity in American Indian communities. Please type your questions into the question box on the lower right-hand side of your screen. Questions will be answered during the last few minutes of the webinar. And now at this time, I will throw it over to Noel Pingator.
Thank you, Mike. As Mike mentioned, I'm Noel Pingator, sitting in for Cathy Edgerly today. I manage the Department of Health Education and Chronic Disease for the Intertribal Council of Michigan and serve as the project director for the Reach Journey to Wellness project. And Mike reviewed our webinar objectives for today. I'll be focusing on the first objective, which is the model for the Reach Journey to Wellness program. The Intertribal Council of Michigan's role is to bring together multiple tribes and several key partners, including the Michigan State University Extension Office and the Michigan Public Health Institute. We bring these partners and tribes together under one statewide coalition, and we call that the Journey to Wellness Coalition. The Intertribal Council of Michigan then facilitates collaboration among coalition members and coordinates training and technical assistance activities via a community of learning environment. The Intertribal Council of Michigan subcontracts funds directly with participating tribes to implement local interventions under the coalition. Local interventions align with individual tribal needs assessments and focus on policy, systems, and environmental change strategies, and use of tailored evidence-based interventions. Going too far. I apologize, I'm trying to go backwards and it's not letting me. Thank you, Mike. So just a quick overview of REACH. It stands for Racial and Ethnic Approaches to Community Health. And the Intertribal Council of Michigan has been fortunate to be the recipient of several past REACH programs. They include the REACH Core, REACH US, and REACH MNO, which stands for Minority National Organization. The focus of REACH is to strengthen capacity and implement both evidence and practice-based strategies in minority populations. These include American Indian and Alaska Native, African American, Hispanic and Latino, Asian and Pacific Islanders. There are 7 tribes that participate in REACH. They are highlighted in green here today, and you can see that they spread from various regions in the rural Upper Peninsula to the southernmost counties of the states that border Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. Today, we'll have 2 of the 7 REACH coordinators share their REACH project's obesity strategies. REACH objectives focus on 4 areas, and for the purpose of today's presentations, we'll share information related to the last 3. We know that many of our tribal communities suffer higher rates of obesity compared to the general population, and that obesity is linked to multiple chronic diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, and some cancers. We also know that Native Americans have a rich history of physical activity achieved through gardening, hunting, and gathering, and ceremonies that include dancing. So we support and incorporate culture into our activities as well. Looking at nutrition, the objectives for this project period were varied based on tribal community and could include nutrition prescription programs, farmers markets, or farm-to-work delivery programs. Over the first 2 years, we expanded our farmers markets and incorporated electronic benefits transfer, which is for some a form of food stamps or assistance, as an accepted form of payment for the farmers markets. We also implemented and expanded our food prescription programs and supported 9 local tribal community coalitions. In regards to physical activity, each of the tribes varied in how they addressed this objective within their individual action plans. They were very engaged with their communities and collected input and feedback to find out what the needs and resources are in order to increase social support for physical activity. And in case you're not familiar with the term social support, it's helpful to think about a group or groups of individuals who have something in common, who may gather in a supportive environment. A support to physical activity should help to make these individuals feel welcome, feel accepted, encouraged, and if so, then the group will grow and thrive as a result. So, for example, walking and other groups are great social support as long as there's a leader who encourages, guides, calls and checks in, and uses feedback to tailor the group for all. And with that, I will turn it over to Angie from the Bay Mills Indian Community.
Thank you, Noelle. Hi, my name is Angie Johnston. I work at the Bay Mills Health Center in Community Health. Over the past 3 years, I have been fortunate enough to work on implementing the REACH Journey to Wellness grant in our community. And I would like to thank you all for this opportunity to speak to you a little bit and brag about fitness trail walkers. Before I get started talking about fitness trail walkers and how it started and what it is, I wanted to share a little bit about the history of Bay Mills here. The Bay Mills Indian community is known in our Ojibwe language as Mno-Zhye, place of the pike. Historically, our tribe has lived in the Sault Ste. Marie area, and we were here even before the British and French. Even though we were here first, we found ourselves forced to cede large amounts of land at one time, and we even became landless. However, in spite of all of this, we survived as a tribe, and in 1860, the Bay Mills Indian community was officially established by an act of Congress. After the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, the Bay Mills Indian community created a new form of government under a written constitution. Then, in 1937, the federal government purchased land for us to establish a reservation land base. Also, we are one of the 4 founding tribes, federal tribes, that established the Intertribal Council of Michigan. So, like many other tribes across the United States, Bay Mills has a history of racism, historical trauma, and systematic oppression that has manifested itself into health disparities such as obesity and depression. And much like other tribes that were affected by efforts to assimilate Native American people, the act of assimilation by the government inflicted wounds that we still feel the effects of today in our culture and health. In realizing that there is no easy, simple, or fast way to eliminate health problems, and that community health is affected by 4 major factors, which are physical factors, community organizing, individual behavior, and social and cultural factors. We took a look at all of these factors and decided that 2 factors stood out to us that we could begin working on right away. These factors also complemented the REACH Journey to Wellness objective, which Noel had touched on, which is increase the number of people with improved access to physical activity opportunities. The 2 factors we decided to work on was social and cultural, along with community organizing. Our thinking for this was that many health problems originate from the social and cultural environments in which we have been raised and lived. And the cultural and social norms of modern day that have been with us for years now are not working well. As you can see in this slide, we made a list of how we lived in the past and compared it to today. And there's quite a bit of difference there. So we wanted to change that. That brought us to a question: what can we do today, right now, where we are, to change all of this? Second, my slide. Trying to get to the right slide here. Okay. So because of all of that, we started to take a step back and look even more in depth to our roots, into our traditional ways of life and how we lived. We know we were a healthy people, we were physically active, obesity was unheard of. And in searching for answers to the question, I learned of a traditional snowshoe dance that was held at the first snow, and that really intrigued me. I wanted to know more about that. And in my research, trying to find more about the snowshoe dance that I had learned about, I started reaching out to elders and researching online about this tradition. I found this painting by George Catlin online, who was able to document the story of the dance. It reads, "The snowshoe dance is exceedingly picturesque, being danced with the snowshoes under the feet at the falling of the first snow in the beginning of winter, when they sing a song of thanksgiving to the Great Spirit for them sending a return of snow, when they can run on their snowshoes in their valued hunts and easily take the game for their food." Seeing this really gave me an idea, and I started wondering if we could bring this snowshoe dance back, specifically into our community. I had the opportunity to share this story that I found with other tribal members as we talked about issues of obesity in our community. And in our talks, what I learned was that many members were frustrated at the lack of winter activities in our community, and also that a lot of members were reporting that they felt depressed during the long winter months here. So the idea of this dance in a snowshoe walking group really started to take shape. And I can't seem to switch to the next slide. There it is. Thank you, Mike. So the idea of a social support snowshoe walking group was, I just spoke about, was obvious to us now. So we began making, whoops, wrong slide. Let's see. Okay, there it is. See what slide I'm on now. Okay, that's the one I needed. Thank you. We started making a list of what we would need to do, and the first thing was we wanted to hold a workshop on how to make traditional snowshoes. I was able to find someone local that had that knowledge, and I made contact with her, and we started planning for a workshop. And we thought that the workshop would be a nice kickoff for a snowshoe walking group. And this is a picture here of actual participants making their snowshoes. It was a lot of fun. We've actually had people ask that we do this again. The next thing on our list was to create a social media page for our group. And what we did was we just made a generic name, Bay Mills Snowshoe Walking Group. And in making that generic name, what we wanted to do was hold a contest for an official name. And we advertised both the workshop and the contest for a name of our group using flyers, the tribal newspaper, inter-office email, and our Facebook page. And this is actually the whiteboard with all the names submitted. There was actually more than this, but this picture I just could only get a few of them. So we wrote them down on the whiteboard at the beginning of our workshop so we could look at them throughout the day. And at the end of the day, we all voted. We had a lot of submissions, and it was a hard decision. And what we ended up doing was meshing two names together to create one. And we came up with Fitness Trail Walkers. Also, before leaving this workshop, we planned our first hike together. We really wanted to explore our own environment together, so we decided to stay within the boundaries of Bay Mills. We planned to meet the following Saturday, and we walked every Saturday throughout the winter after that as a group. And then this picture on the left, I just wanted to share some pictures with you of us actually hiking. This was created by a tribal member, Liza Toms, after our first walk. And on the right is a picture of us walking around a local lake that's on our reservation. So you can see, well, you might not be able to see, but there's children and families in this picture. And I lost control of changing the slide again. There it is. Okay, and then in this picture on the left is a little boy and his dog, and they really ran circles around us this day. It was great to see families with us, and everyone is encouraged to join us regardless of age and fitness level. We try to accommodate everyone. For example, if an elder wanted to participate but was unable to walk a planned 6-mile hike, one of the club members would go back with them, and the others in the group would continue. The picture on the right here is a 110-foot pine foot tree, and this picture does not do this tree justice, but at the start of our hike, there was a kiosk saying that there was a 110-foot tree somewhere just off the trail. So it was a lot of fun for us to look for it as we walked. And then as a group, we started out actually walking 2 miles, and over the course of the winter, we worked ourselves up to sometimes over 7 miles breaking trails. This picture on the left is my actual snowshoe, and I like to call this picture contemplating because that was one of the days we had probably a good 8 inches of snow had fallen. The picture on the right, you can see why we like to allow dogs as well with us, because they're part of the family. And if you can get your dog to go in front of you, they kind of break the trail, which is nice. Here's another picture. This is Oscar. We kind of call him our little mascot. He's been on pretty much every hike with us with his owner. And then the picture on the right, we started a new tradition. Pretty much every walk we go on, somebody will make a snow angel. So it's just really enjoyable. We get out there and we have fun and explore together. This picture here is a mental health awareness walk and run that we participated in Petoskey. We're considering doing theme walks ourselves now after being involved in this for some kind of health initiative, colon cancer, breast cancer, and coordinating our colors for the walk. After we participated in larger events, one of our members was really inspired and started breaking out and doing marathons on his own, which was really great to see. And our council is supportive, with one of the council members regularly participating with us. And then what's next for us? One thing that I'm really happy about is we were identified recently in the Bay Mills Township Recreation Plan as a community physical activity resource. So this has really been motivating to us to continue what we're doing. Right now, I'm working with Michigan State University Extension Program to plan a guided foraging hikes. And along with Bay Mills Community College, we plan on creating an Indigenous food resource guide that people will be able to just put in their pocket as they're out hiking and look for edible Indigenous food to the area. We're also partnering with the Bay Mills Community College currently to hold physical activity events in our community. October 13th, we're having a survival skills hike, and we are also planning some demonstrations of how to use equipment safely, such as snowshoes, skis, and skates, all kinds of outdoors activities. This slide here is some quotes from participants in fitness trail walkers. And one person says, "I love it. The fitness trail walker groups give those in our community an opportunity to come together, share stories, and explore a fantastic backyard." Another person says, "Fitness trail walkers means a lot to me because it helps me stay fit and get out and see things I wouldn't have thought I would. I see and meet new people, and the outdoors, I think, would really help a lot of people with their sobriety and stay fit and well." And one last thing, you get to spend some time with family and friends, and it don't get better than that. And then one last quote I'd like to share. Inspired me to get up in the morning, meet with people of the community. I look forward to the days we get together. What better way can you come up with to break up the busy week? Every walk trip, I feel like we are heading on some great adventure. So these were awesome to see. And then a final thought, in a class I took recently, I seen this quote and I thought it really speaks to what community health is. The health of one person is not just an individual responsibility, but also a community responsibility. And then this slide is just my contact information. And if you wanted to check out our Facebook page, it's Fitness Trail Walkers. So thank you for your time and for listening to me speak about fitness trail walkers, and I've enjoyed my time sharing. I hope that this has inspired you to get outdoors this winter and do some snowshoeing. And with that, I will hand it over to, I believe Emily is next.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Angie. I absolutely loved your doodle mascot, Oscar. That was so cute. So as Angie and Mike said, my name is Emily VanderKlok, and I am privileged to manage the community health outreach team for the Nottawasapi Huron Band of the Potawatomi. We have a 7-county service area, and it spans both rural and urban areas. So when we're working with health promotion, disease prevention initiatives, we need to keep both the rural and the urban aspects in mind. So at NHBP, a recent community health needs assessment showed us that 29.8% of adults classified themselves as overweight. So this was a self-report where we asked them to self-report their weight and their height. And we had an additional 43.28% of adults classify themselves as obese. So combined, we're looking at over 73% of our population classifying themselves as overweight or obese. So especially considering the impact of weight status on health and disease, those numbers are pretty alarming. In order to actually halt or even reverse the obesity trend, we must employ a multifaceted approach and utilize multiple levels of interventions. At NHBP, we have now implemented strategies that range from population-level interventions to organizational-level policies and initiatives targeting early intervention for specific populations and changes in screening and referral practice. With obesity being such a complex issue, today I plan to give you kind of a high-level glance at some of the initiatives, programs, and interventions we have in place to address obesity. But then I'd like to go into more detail on two of the programs associated with the REACH grant. And those are the Employee Wellness Program and the Nutrition Prescription Program. So here are just a few of the nutrition and traditional food access and education initiatives we have going on. So we've partnered with MSU Extension and the Grand Rapids YMCA to provide Cooking Matters classes pretty routinely in both of our locations. And those classes can focus on family. We've done them that focus on diabetics, and they can even focus on youth cooking. We've started food preservation classes and canning classes. And we've really started working on traditional cooking demonstrations. So we have a full program now that runs for a month that we call Harvest Health. And during that program, our focus is traditional cooking demos. We've also built that into Culture Night events and programs. We have a veggie van, which is a mobile farmers market that comes to our urban site. And we have a partnership with a company called Sproutbox, and that results in CSA produce delivery to the reservation. We also have a community garden on the reservation that we have arranged produce distribution at the Lunch and Learn program. And I will get into more detail on the nutrition prescription program, but this has been great for improving access to nutritious food, education, and we really focused on 4 different priority populations. Here are just a couple pictures. The picture on the top left is next to our community garden. There's also a greenhouse, and these are some of the wonderful people involved in the planting and harvesting. And on the bottom right, that is the mobile farmers market at our Grand Rapids Health Department location. Helping youth to develop healthy lifestyles is of paramount importance in halting the progression of obesity and improving health for the next generation. From both a prevention and an epigenetic perspective, helping youth to develop healthy lifestyles prior to conception is the best way to start the next generation off on the right foot. So keeping that in mind, we have really focused on our youth, and we have implemented and developed a lot of nutrition and physical activity programs and opportunities targeting the youth. So the community health team is partnering with the TYP, the Tribal Youth Program, to provide healthy snack education, healthy beverage education. We are combining forces and providing cardio drumming, kickboxing, lots of things targeting the health of our youth. We have also implemented MIFO training, which is the Michigan Indian Family Olympics. So we have a program specific to our youth where we are teaching them lots of different physical activity strategies, and we're helping them train for the different events at those games. We have also run the Girls on the Run program for 2 years at both the Grand Rapids location and the location down on the reservation. We've also implemented the Light Up the Res 5K and really maximized this event. It's been going on for years, but now we are seeing a lot of engagement and a lot of the social support that was so needed in the community. We've also implemented BMI screening and education at our back to school event. So here's a cute little picture from Girls on the Run in 2018. Here's a few of our runners. This picture is the starting line for the turtle trot. All those kiddos are getting ready to run their mile. So as part of our Light Up the Res 5K, we have the 5K portion, but then we also have the 1 mile turtle trot, which is a little more attractive to many of the younger kids. Again, we really recognize the importance of early intervention in healthy families. We're building our internal capacity for early intervention and also supports for early childhood families. So when we're looking at the maternal child health families, we have picked several different interventions to help with early intervention for weight, nutrition, and physical activity. So the first one I'm just going to touch on briefly is we're getting additional nutrition credentialing for our community health nurses so that they can do earlier intervention in the homes with the families. We're incorporating nutrition education into those home visits. We are distributing veggie boxes during the growing season, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And we have some additional initiatives to connect with women during pregnancy and really help to have that healthy pregnancy and nutrition, good nutrition during pregnancy. We have several organizational level nutrition interventions that we're currently working on, including food and training policy and also our clinical protocols. So now I'd like to go into a little bit more detail on the nutrition prescription program that we did as part of the REACH grant. Our program currently focuses on 4 priority populations: youth, early childhood families, diabetic patients, and employee wellness participants. The boxes include $25 worth of produce, recipes, and nutrition education. This program has been incredibly well received and has grown for us every single year. The program improves access for the priority populations. It improves the health literacy of those priority populations, and it also addresses one of the major expressed barriers, which was not knowing how to prepare or cook certain types of produce. So if you want to get started implementing a nutrition prescription program, the first thing you need to do is decide on the scale of the program and select that priority population. Who do you want to start with? We started with a small group of diabetic patients. We started small, and each and every year we added another priority group, and the program has expanded. The next priority would be to acquire budget. So as I think we all know, many grants forbid the purchase of food. So you might have to do some research on available funding or utilize general funds to get your program off the ground. For us, we found that $25 boxes of produce was the right amount of produce for the participants and also the right amount of money for our budget. There are many partners and resources that you can tap into along the way. For us, local growers and distributors and MSU Extension and the YMCA were great partners for our program. However, you will need to factor in time for contracts and MOUs right into your program timeline, because that process always takes longer than we expect it to. You will also need to develop your in-season recipe cards nice and early and decide on referral procedures for your program prior to implementation. Once you have all the details finalized, you can start developing a marketing campaign. Now for us, we were really lucky that we have a great communications department that we could tap into. So I wanted to show you just a couple of examples of flyers that have been a part of this program. So this first flyer was from our nutrition prescription program targeting early childhood families. So we tried to make it fun, and we also tried to give some information to parents on how to raise that healthy eater. This next flyer was for the nutrition prescription portion, targeting diabetic patients. And we chose to align our program requirements to our SDPI priorities as well. And one last consideration is whether to deliver the boxes to program participants or to use a drop spot method. So we ultimately decided to go with a delivery method. And this is very time intensive. It takes a lot of staff and a lot of time, especially as the program grows. But we felt that the relationship building and the educational opportunities of the door-to-door delivery far outweighed all of the cons. The next program I'd like to talk to you about in a little more detail is our employee wellness program. So this, you can see our cute little brand up there, is named Mno-Zhye, which translates to healthy gains. And I'm going to walk you through the process on how we actually implemented this full program. So the first thing I wanted to share is part of the rationale. So a large percentage of NHBP employees are actually tribal members, spouses, and descendants. So we recognize that improving the health of our workforce could have a powerful ripple effect in the community in many ways. Our program takes a comprehensive approach that uses programs, challenges, fitness tracking, on-site exercise, online education, and this whole online platform. The ultimate program goal is to achieve 500 points throughout the calendar year, which then turns into money. So our little tagline is Fun Fit 500. I wanted to include this slide on our history so you could kind of see the progression of this program and to demonstrate that this has been a really long but valuable process. So you can see we actually started back in 2012. Was the first time we started having conversations about employee wellness. Our first step was to do a little teeny exercise flex time policy back in 2013. That was adapted into full policy in 2014. And 2014 was our first employee wellness survey. Through lots of hard work and analyzing different programs and figuring out what we wanted to do, we were finally approved to move forward in June of 2015. And the program was rolled out in January 2016, that should be. So the survey we started with in 2014, we used that to both determine the needs and the desires of the workforce related to health. So some of the key findings from that survey, the first one, 92% wanted to participate in an employee wellness program. So we had overwhelming support to move forward with this kind of program. 70% of the respondents did not receive enough exercise. 80% classified themselves as overweight or obese. And 80% did not eat the recommended amount of fruits and veggies. This slide is a screenshot of our implementation packet. So you can see our table of contents and everything that we included in that packet. So even presently, every single staff person received this packet. And as we onboard new employees, they also receive this packet. So in the program, there are several different ways that participants can earn points. Oh, it went too far. Mike, can we go back one? Oh, previous. There we go. So the first part of the program we call participation points. And these are points that people can earn by participating in different programs, challenges, things like that. So you can see most of our initiatives we put on a 25-point structure. The walking challenge is on here. Hold It for the Holidays is a weight maintenance during the holiday season. Winter Meltdown is a weight loss program we do in the winter. The Fall Food Program is a nutrition education program we do usually in October or November. Waiting to see if it'll change. Ah, there we go. So we do have on-site fitness and exercise, and you can earn points by participating in averaging 4 times a month or 8 times per month. It gets you different point levels. So this is a picture of one of our health educators leading a Zumba class. This picture is one of the rooms of our on-site fitness center at the Grand Rapids location. We also have what is called performance points as part of our employee wellness program. So one way to earn these points is through wearing a fitness tracker, like a Fitbit. And that tracker is linked directly to an online platform called 3Fit. And you can see there's a different point amount associated with different step levels. And these are assessed on a quarterly basis. So 3Fit is really easy. The trackers automatically sync to the system. And there's even a downloadable app that you can use right on a smartphone. So this is what our login screen looks like for the 3Fit program. This is an example of my 3Fit dashboard. So you can see up at the top left, you get a daily step count. The middle one shows estimated calorie burn. You get distance traveled. If your tracker analyzes your sleep, that also syncs to the system. You get activity minutes. There's also a whole nutrition portion of this if you wanted to log your food. I don't utilize that portion of the program. You can see all of these links on the side, and these take you to other great functions in the system. So if you have any active challenges, that will be listed. The health is where you can complete your HRA, your health risk assessment, and it gives you personalized recommendations. Any upcoming events, programs, you can change your trackers. And then on the right-hand side, there's a running leaderboard. So the quarterly challenges we do obviously once a quarter, and they have different health focuses. So it could be exercise, nutrition, it might be sleep or mindfulness. We've done them as individual challenges. We've also done them as departmental challenges. So we kind of mimicked March Madness one year and got the departments competing against each other in a bracket type challenge. We make this really, really fun. But quarterly challenges result in gift card incentives and not points. So here's a picture of one of our upcoming challenges. So you enroll right in the challenge in the 3Fit platform. There's also a lot of really great online classes that we have as part of our program. And you log right into 3Fit and can take them. And they are not like a 1-hour webinar. They might be a 6-class series. It actually takes some time and effort, and they have great content in these classes. They have topics, everything from nutrition, weight loss, to finances, tobacco cessation, stress reduction. So really good topics for employees as well. So the overall points and prizes, if someone attains 250 points, that's when they earn a veggie box. 300 points by the end of the year gets them a Nike East Bay voucher. 500 points is considered a program completer, and that equates to $500. And then the quarterly challenges are money. At any point in time, you can log right into the 3Fit database and see where you are with your points. And you can see I already have 625 points. So we purposely made it an attainable number. You don't have to do every single thing to achieve the 500 points, but you do have to have a fairly consistent level of engagement in the program. So I also wanted to share with you, as I mentioned, we did our first employee wellness survey in 2014. And we decided we would be doing that survey every 2 years. So I have some data to share with you comparing 2014 to 2016. And we are actually just a couple weeks away from doing our survey again for 2018. I wish I had that data to share with you too, because we've had some really great outcomes so far just from those first 2 surveys. So this first one I want to shows this massive shift in exercise behavior in just 2 years of the program. So you can see the blue line all the way to the left. Almost 60% of our workforce started out saying, I do not do exercise and I have no plans to start. And then you can flash forward to 2016, we don't have a single person in that category. Every single person has shifted up in their readiness to change. And you can also see all the way to the right, we now have, I think it's about 23% that are doing more than 150 minutes of exercise, and they've been doing that for more than 6 months. So this change in readiness has been just amazing for me to watch. I find that just phenomenal, that we would go from almost 60% of our workforce saying, don't even talk to me about exercise, I'm not gonna do it, to this shift in orange moving towards the right side of the chart. Here's another one that I think is showing some good momentum. So you can see in 2014, those are the blue bars, we have a lot of people in the slightly overweight category, you know, over 50%, and 30% in the very overweight category. So that's 80% of our workforce was slightly overweight or very overweight. And you can see in 2016, we're already starting to see reductions in that overweight status of our workforce. So we've seen a slight reduction in very overweight, a pretty drastic reduction in slightly overweight, and that increase in people that are reporting that they are now at a healthy weight or even slightly underweight. So I think this is showing a really great trend that this kind of a comprehensive approach can have an actual impact on weight status. I also wanted to share with you, based on that 2016 survey, the top 10 benefits that participants reported as part of the employee wellness program. And the one I'd really like to point out, the top 2, greater involvement in programs and events and increased camaraderie, because those are social support right there. And that was one of the main goals of the REACH program. One of the main theories was improving social support is going to improve those outcomes. And I think our survey results really demonstrate that that is accurate. Our employee wellness program has received recognition 2 years in a row at the Business Excellence Awards for excellence in worksite wellness. So we're really happy with the way that this program's going. I wanted to share my contact information with you if you have any questions or you would like more information on something that maybe I breezed over in the beginning and you would like to hear more about, or if you have questions on employee wellness or the nutrition prescription program, I'm happy to talk with you, answer emails, anything like that. And I really appreciate your time, and thank you very much for listening to this webinar and this presentation. And I think I'm passing it back to Mike for questions.
All righty, thank you very much, Emily. And again, we will be taking questions right now up until the top of the hour, just to respect everybody's time, the audience and the presenters. If you do have any questions, there is a box labeled questions in the go to webinar control panel. Just type your question in the box there, and I'll ask it aloud for the presenters to respond to. In the meantime, while folks are getting their questions ready, I do want to give a plug for our website and social media. We will be offering some more webinars as we are entering the new fiscal year. So make sure you follow us on social media for the announcements. We are available on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and then, of course, our website, keepitsacred.org, has just a ton of information on there. Archived webinars for the past several years, archived newsletters, all sorts of awesome material for folks to check out. So we do have a few questions I just filled in. So the first question is for Emily. It says, how easy was it to partner with the mobile farm? Emily, are you still on? I think Emily's muted. Let me see if I can unmute her. Are you there, Emily? Okay, well, in the meantime, Angie, are you available?
I'm here.
All right. Okay, so the next question is, how do you support your employee worksite wellness program, the 500 benefit?
That's actually Emily.
Yeah, that's me.
Are you there, Emily?
Sorry.
I was having an issue with my audio for a second.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that means financially support, and that's a great question. So when I initially proposed this idea to council, this was the deal. And the deal was we would look at how much money we saved through insurance. So we were saying, you know what, we're going to have monetary savings because of this program. If we have a healthier workforce, that means we're going to save money. So the way we proposed it to council was that at the end of the year, we would look at how much money we saved. Half of the savings would immediately go back to the tribe. The other half would be divided amongst the people who completed the 500 points. And we had to put a range in there. So our range was $200 would be the minimum, 500 would be the maximum, because we had no idea what to expect. And I did not include this data, but sure enough, the first 2-3 years of the program, we saw significant savings, hundreds of thousands of dollars of savings. And we have not been able to pull completely comparative data due to some switches, but so I did not include all of that in the presentation, but that's how we funded the program. So initially our startup year was general funds, but then we were taking the savings from the insurance money to fund the program and to pay the people who participated.
And then running back, there's a question before that. How easy was it to partner with the mobile farm?
Very easy, very easy. But we were also in a really lucky situation because the YMCA of Greater Grand Rapids has its own community grants and community outreach division, which is really unusual for the YMCAs. So it just so happened that our need partnered with one of the things they were offering. So it was a really natural fit for us. That's not necessarily common that the YMCAs have that available. So you might just have to do some research in your area to see what's around.
And we have another question here. It says, for Emily, are you able to share the employee wellness survey questions?
Oh, absolutely. I can do that. How should I get those out, Mike?
Maybe if Charlotte wants to send Emily an email.
Yeah.
To the email address listed there, I think that Emily could probably get that out, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. Let's see here. So we've got another question. Do you incorporate calculating BMIs and counting calories and so forth in the wellness programs, especially with the youth activities?
It's been interesting. So there's been a shift lately in the thoughts around that. And so we personally at NHBP, we've been shifting away from weight-based, calorie-based programs and shifting to more health-focused and wellness-focused programs. So whereas we might have been doing that, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, we're not doing that much anymore.
Next question, Emily, what do you do with your programming around cancer screenings and prevention?
So I would kind of like to pass that question over to our clinical manager. We do have lots of different cancer screenings, but that's not my area of specialty. So if whoever asked that question, if you want to send me an email, I can connect you with our clinical manager.
And there's another question here. Let's see. It says, I saw a list of physical activity and a couple times I saw cardio drumming. Can you explain this?
Oh, cardio drumming is such a blast. I would encourage you to Google it. So basically what they do is they take a big bucket and they put one of those, those big like physio balls or balance balls that are, like 3 feet in diameter. And they balance those on top of the bucket and they use actually drumsticks. And they do this just amazing cardio drumming to different beats. And another thing that's so awesome about that form of activity is that it really is whatever you put into it. So you can do it seated if you have, some kind of modifications that you need to do, or you can be dancing around and get one heck of a workout. So it's been really popular in our community.
Awesome. And I think that's about it for the questions for right now. And so we do want to remind everybody that attended today's webinar to please make sure that you fill out the survey that you'll be receiving tomorrow. There'll be an automatically generated survey that'll go out tomorrow. It'll be an email coming from GoToWebinar. There'll be a link in there that goes to SurveyMonkey, and that's our evaluation. And if you're looking for continuing education units, feel free to fill that out, and then we'll try to get the certificate back to you probably in about a month or so. And again, we do want to remind everybody to make sure to visit our website at keepitsacred.org and make sure to like and follow us on social media. And for anybody that's wondering about a archive of the webinar, that will be available coming up tomorrow. So feel free to check us out online. And thank you very much to everybody who attended. And thank you very much to Noelle and Angela and Emily for presenting today. And we will have an awesome day. Thank you very much. Have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye.